How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back to another week of CTV Sports. I'm Mike Walsh.
And I'm Ella Fredrikson, and here are your top stories for the week.
Colorado State Volleyball looks to build off a strong start to conference play, taking on Air Force in Colorado Springs on Thursday.
Poudre School District gets ready for the Canvas Community Classic this Friday as CSU welcomes local area high schools to Canvas Stadium. This is their first taste of some real league play.
And finally, Hot or Not returns as we once again will make some picks for some notable games on the horizon.
All that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now.
As always, we'll kick things off with CSU football. Now, I would really love to come on every week and keep this positive attitude, but it's getting pretty pathetic at this point. Always hoping for something and nothing ever coming. Colorado State lost a big one again, this time to the Sacramento State Hornets. The Rams really did not show much in this one, although we did see some quality drives that produced two scores, a field goal and a 53-yard receiving touchdown by arguably the best player in the green and gold, Torrey Horton. However, outside of those two, CSU was basically non-existent in this one and just seemed to be slowly going through the motions. The opposite was true for the Hornets, though, putting up points in every quarter, including 17 in the second. So overall, not a good showing for the Rams, and head coach Jay Norvell knows it. And he seems like he feels the same as all Ram fans. Here's what he had to say after the game.
So the guys that we have got to get better. You know, the guys that have played these last couple weeks that are new players, they have to show improvement, and we have to help to get them better. And you know, we can't blame players as coaches. They're our players, and so we gotta help them get better, and they have to work to get better.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Coach. Look, Sacramento State is decent, but Colorado State is not the type of program that should be losing by this much to an FCS school. I mean, look at that final score. CSU lost by 31 points, just embarrassing. And we see more of what we've seen all year from the Rams, worse stats than their opponent. Not only did the Hornets have over 100 more total yards, but they also had 15 more first downs. No team is ever going to seriously challenge with these type of numbers in the box score. And Norvell isn't alone. The players also expressed their disappointment and emphasized group effort in their post-game interviews.
It's easy to point fingers, but you know, it's harder to look at yourself in the mirror and say what I need to do better. So I think we all need to do that, different areas, and just go from there.
We're worried about what can we all do to turn this thing around, not focus on who messed up in the past and none of that stuff, you know. Whatever each person can get better on, each unit, each side of the ball can get better on, that's what we're going to do.
Now, we did see some pockets of encouragement. Rams' true freshman quarterback, Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, replaced Clay Millen in the second quarter following a shoulder injury. And despite not throwing any passes this year, Fowler-Nicolosi was actually quite efficient in his first appearance calling the plays. However, it was a short-lived success as he only completed 2 more passes outside of that second quarter. So clearly the Rams have a lot to figure out in these next few practices, but we'll have to pause for 10 days before determining whether those changes come to fruition or not, as CSU enters its bye week. But Ella, Canvas Stadium won't be totally silent this weekend, now will it?
Well, Mike, no it won't, because a bunch of high school kids will invade Canvas Stadium this Friday, as Colorado State University gears up for the first ever Canvas Community Classic. The series, partnered with Canvas Credit Union and Shields, will feature doubleheader football games between Poudre School District's 4 comprehensive high schools. This event signifies the decades-long collaborating efforts and relationship between PSD and CSU. I'm so excited to see these young athletes battle it out on sunny Lubick Field. It might actually give us something to finally cheer about this year, considering the way CSU football has been playing. Nonetheless, let's get right into the matchups. Rocky Mountain High School and Poudre High School will kick off the festivities Friday afternoon at 4:30. Entering league play and the second half of the schedule, both teams are coming off blowout victories, with Poudre winning its last 4 straight. The source of Poudre's recent surge is a much more balanced offense. Yes, the defense has been outstanding, but the development of quarterback Quentin Harms has been huge. After a rough 3-interception outing 3 weeks ago to Castleview, the senior signal caller has finally put it all together, using his 6'2" frame to make plays and air it out deep. That, combined with a well-established rushing attack, has made the Impala's offense more versatile and dangerous, especially in the red zone. This is a significant contrast to the opposite playbook, where the Rocky Mountain Lobos rely almost solely on their ground game, led by their stellar running back. Junior Abe Chatilla runs the show, averaging around 30 carries and accumulating over 100 yards in every game so far. The Lobos H-back is explosive, reaching the end zone 7 times, 4 of which in their lopsided win against Horizon last Friday. The Rockies O-line can create lanes and space for Chatilla. It's going to be a long night for Pooter's front 7. However, if the past 2 weeks are a tale of anything, that's most likely not going to be the case. You see, the Impala's run defense has been insane as of late, surrendering a mere 2.15 yards per carry in the last 2 games. Chatilla versus Pooter's front will definitely be a matchup worth watching. But now, Mike, I want to hear more about the second contest on tap for the night. What can you tell us about the Fort Collins-Fossil Ridge rivalry?
Yeah, Ella. Well, I can tell you one thing. They don't like each other at all. This meeting is one that each fan base always marks and underlines on their calendars following the schedule release. But the past 5 weeks have yielded a totally different fate for both squads. And what's interesting, that it's completely reversed compared to a season ago. If you rewind the clocks back a year, it was Fort Collins that positioned itself in the driver's seat for a playoff-bound run, defeating the SaberCats 34-23 in the process 382 days ago. Though it was a close one throughout, even seeing a SaberCat lead heading into the fourth quarter, the Lambkins persevered for a double-digit nod. But that was then, and this is now. Fort Collins and Fossil Ridge will battle it out this Friday at 7 in Canvas Stadium for round 2 of the Canvas Community Classic. And oh, had the tables turned? Fossil Ridge gloats with an impressive 4-1 record, while Fort Collins sports the opposite of that. And unlike Pooter, as Ella mentioned, the Lambkins have lost their last 4 straight. To be honest, I don't know what happened since 2021. I mean, I guess Fort Collins did lose 2 of their star players, Dorian McGarity and Dante Johnson, but I did not think it would be this detrimental to the team. What's worse is that the Lambkins' lone win on the season comes courtesy of a slim 1-point edge over Denver East, not helping their negative 89-point differential too much. Crazier things have occurred, but the way Fossil Ridge has been playing recently, I would be nervous if I were a Lambkins fan. There's a lot to like about this SaberCats team. Head coach Jeff Fulton is loaded with so many weapons on this offense, especially wide receiver Trek Keyworth. The 6'2 senior has size and speed, making him a vertical threat anywhere. We're in late September and Keyworth has already had 29 receptions for nearly 500 yards with 3 touchdowns. That means he's averaging almost 100 yards through the air. The Lambkins secondary must put a limit on his playmaking abilities if they want to get off the field. Unfortunately for Keyworth, first-team all-conference and absolute gunslinger Tyler Kubat went down against Brighton 3 weeks ago and hasn't played since. Thankfully, though, that hasn't stopped Keyworth's productivity too much, as dual-threat quarterback Colton Powlock has stepped up with both his legs and his arms. Powlock actually leads the team in rushing yards, and right behind him is sophomore Jake Toshkoff. So like I said, lots to look forward to this week with SaberCats offense, and whether Fort Collins can stop all of them is the question, and we'll just have to wait and see come Friday night. But putting aside football, let's get back to CSU athletics. Ella, how does the looming volleyball schedule look?
Thanks, Mike. Well, the girls are currently coming off a big 1-2-3 sweep over UNLV last week. And that was a big deal because last year in Moby, CSU fell in a heartbreaker to UNLV in 5 sets. And before Thursday, the Rebels were cruising rather nicely this season. However, the Rams stuffed any hopes of a road upset by the Rebels, with CSU middle blocker Malaya Jones crediting the front court for the convincing victory.
I think what we really had to focus on was being really focused on our blocking. I think that was a really, really big determiner on why we were so successful tonight, because they're a great offensive team, and so we had to learn how to be quick with our blocking, quick with our hands, and being very quick with our schemes and staying true to those schemes.
The Rams will now pivot for a brief road trip, starting with the Air Force Falcons down south. And just a short 48 hours later, CSU will be in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a matchup against the Lobos. Although exposure outside Moby has been minimal and shaky with that, I believe CSU has finally settled into its groove. Now, there have been moments this year when I've noticed the Rams fall almost without fail. Whether it be a serving, finishing, or an energy issue, they've definitely had difficulty closing out a match when having a strong start. That being said, I believe last week's sweep is where that streak breaks. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've swept schools in the past. What makes this one different? Fair question. And the answer is conference play. Yes, every match matters, Mountain West or not, but once the teams familiar with Moby and CSU come in and fall that hard, it's a different type of momentum. The Mountain West is a league to watch this year as 9 out of 11 teams have made it to this point with a winning record, 2 of them being Air Force and New Mexico. The Lobos are going to be a much heftier task than the Falcons, as New Mexico currently sits at 10-2, with their only losses coming to Boise State, otherwise known as the top dog, and South Dakota about a month ago. Although I wish this one could be played in Moby to give CSU that extra nudge, this match is sure to separate the top from the middle in the standings. On the Air Force side of things, the Falcons have had a rough opening conference slate so far, getting shot down by both Utah State and previously mentioned Boise. If CSU can dominate throughout rather than struggling to complete 3 sets, they'll improve to 3-0 in conference play easily. As always, tune into CTV next week for a complete breakdown of these results to find out where the Rams were able to stack up. And Mike, speaking of New Mexico, how did soccer fare this week against the Lobos?
Well, Ella, what you'd expect from CSU this year, a draw. However, it did keep a mere unbeaten streak alive thanks to a shutout win against San Diego State earlier. And the game itself was an entertaining one all throughout. The Lobos were solid competition and basically matched CSU in every stat. The play on the pitch was active, with 16 total shots in the first half and 20 in the second, 2 of them hitting the back of the net, 1 for each squad. This was a highly contested battle, an energetic one too, witnessing a much higher number of scoring chances than what is accustomed to with Rams soccer this year. CSU now looks to sustain the loss column with more wins and fewer ties as they host Boise State Thursday afternoon at 3. Now soccer is tiring, but there's another sport that's tiring in a drastically different way. Ella, how did CSU club hockey do in its season opener?
Well, Mike, over the weekend, the CSU men's hockey team welcomed Metro State University over at the Adora Pool and Ice Center. And boy, did the Rams come away from it happy. Quick into the first period, it was clear the green and gold controlled the pace of the game, taking care of the puck and putting it constant pressure on the forecheck. As a result, this was the recipe for a nightmare outing for Metro State goaltender Dylan Wild. The Rams sniped 7 past him, accumulating to a final score of 7-0. But when you look closer at the final stat sheet, the lopsided results seem relatively strange. The Roadrunners were actually able to get off 6 more shots on goal, but Rams netminder Sam Simon was magnificent, stopping all 40 pucks that came his way and finishing with a shutout. On the other hand, Wild was only able to get in front of 27 of 34 he faced, ending the night with a displeasing .794 save percentage. CSU stayed consistent and strong for the entire 60 minutes, and this proved significant as the Rams were unable to capitalize on their numerous power plays. But on the other hand, they also prevented the Roadrunners from even getting a single shot off through 8 minutes of their man advantages. And most obviously, like hockey always is, the game was non-stop physical. I mentioned the numerous power plays, and by the end of the night, 8 penalties were assessed, 4 on each side. The sin bin was busy, especially in the later periods. Regardless of the hitting, the highlight was Rams forward Riley Hunt-Ban, who not even halfway through the first period recorded his 2nd goal, 1 shy of a hat trick. Unfortunately, that lucky 3rd never came, but his teammates picked him up with the succeeding 5. 2 days later, the Rams took the drive down I-25 to duel the Roadrunners on their home ice in Denver, but picked up yet another W. A little more competitive this time, though, 4-2. Up next for Colorado State is another home game facing the University of Central Oklahoma Friday evening. I don't know, Mike, just being in that environment, I would love to see CSU promote their hockey team a little bit more and maybe have them end up D1 rather than just club.
No, hockey is a super entertaining sport.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like one of the most fun atmospheres to ever be in, and they would definitely get a ton of fans here from
Yeah,
CSU.
no, absolutely. And even if you're just going for the hits or just going for the fights, it's still fun. I mean, CSU knows how to put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
They're a really, really, really fun team to watch no matter who they're playing, and the fans are loyal.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, if you got like all these fans out here, all the action, I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely not, especially with how some other CSU sports are
Yeah.
going right now.
Very
maybe we need a winning team. When we come back, CTV future reporter Madeline Davis joins us in the studio for a special interview with one of our very own international student athletes.
Plus, we'll give you an update on how cross country and women's golf fared in their recent outings. All of that and more on CTV Sports.
Welcome back from the break, Bram fans. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Colorado State international tennis player Šárka Richterová to find out more about what it's like to be an international athlete at CSU. Madeline Davis with CTV here at the CSU Tennis Complex for an exclusive interview with Šárka Richterová from the CSU women's tennis team. So, first of all, thank you so much for doing this.
I thank you so much for doing this. It's always so much fun to talk to you guys.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So my first question that I have is, what made you want to come to the United States to play tennis?
So I always loved tennis and I loved school. And at home you cannot really combine it if you want to go to a prestige college. So I was thinking, and with my family we were going to the US for winters to Florida. And people are telling me about that there's college opportunity and that with my tennis I could play at college. So I was like, I could try that, and I'm a team player, and tennis is obviously not a team sport, so I was really curious how it would be being in a team, actually. It was always my dream to be a part of a team, so this was a perfect solution.
Yeah, for sure. So your first year you played at Drexel, and then you transferred to CSU. Why did you want to transfer here?
So, yeah, my first 2 years at Drexel were awesome, but the thing with Drexel is that you have to stay there during summer for co-op, which is awesome opportunity to work in the United States. But I being an international student, I do not spend a lot of time at home already, and going home is really important for me. So I just wanted to have both college and summer. So that's what made me transfer.
You're not alone being an international athlete on this team. I mean, even Radka, she's also from the Czech Republic like you. How has it helped to have other people from other countries with you?
So I always say that we're like a family away from a family. It's really nice to have people in the same situation as you are with you. So, for example, last year we were all in my house all the time, just having family dinners, and we were spending so much time together. And because you don't have your mom, so you need your friend to be your mom, and you don't have your sister, so like you have everyone around you, and everyone is away from their family. So we stick together much more, I feel like, because the only people we have is our team, basically.
Yeah, for sure. This is a fun question. If you could play doubles with any tennis player, who would you play with?
Well, I think it would be Madeline Davis, just because she's a legend. She's probably the best tennis player, doubles player, even singles player that ever lived. And I feel like we're from a different era, and I still think she's such a unique and awesome player that it would be so cool to just share a court with her and play with her.
Yeah, for
Get
sure.
some wisdom from her.
Yeah. If you could choose, like, which tournament would you play at? Wimbledon?
Yeah, it was my dream from I was 3 years old when I first started playing to just be a Wimbledon champion.
Yeah, do you plan on continuing and trying to go pro after college?
Yeah, she sent me
So
that one.
probably not, because it's really, really hard and the competition is really big, and the people that are supposed to be there at Wimbledon usually don't go to college. Like, they can, they're obviously people who went through college and went pro.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans did
Yeah,
that.
I know, like Danielle Collins did that.
Yeah, but it's really, really hard to get there, and it's expensive. So I think this is literally my second to last year of playing tennis, like on a really professional-ish level. So I'm just enjoying every second of it.
Oh, I
because
bet.
it's so nice to.
But yeah. So my final question for you is, what is your favorite part about being an international athlete?
Yeah, so my favorite part is that you meet so many nice people from all over the world. So I have now friends from China, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, USA, everywhere, and you get to be best friends with people you would never meet in your life if you would just stay home and go in a normal way. So yeah, that's my favorite part.
Yeah, for sure.
Being coached by nice coaches.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I interview these athletes and I ask them about what their favorite It always comes down to the people.
Yeah, no, it's the most important thing. I feel also in life, just being surrounded by nice people that you are happy with, and I am happy with all the people I have on the team now, so it's just, it's a great privilege to be international athlete.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, people can turn something good into something great.
Yeah, no, and this is good, or this is great, and then they made it into something insane, so
Yeah, for sure.
so it's really nice.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you so much for doing this interview.
I thank you again, it was so much fun. Yeah, good luck with everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this has been Madeline Davis with CTV. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
I loved being able to sit down with Šárka and really learn more about her international experience. This was only a short portion of the interview though, so if you are interested in listening to the whole thing, it'll be up around noon tomorrow. Thank you so much. Back to you guys.
Ohio State cross country hiked up north to the Twin Cities last Friday for its second meet of the season. A rainy day welcomed the 22 participating schools to the Roy Griek Invitational, and considering the competition, the Rams were impressive, posting a pair of fourth-place finishes. Both the men and women placed 3 runners in the top 25. For the men's 8K, redshirt senior Tom Oates paced the squad at just under 25 minutes. He was followed by classmate Thomas Chaston and redshirt junior Lars Mitchell, who just cracked the top 25 with about the same exact time, a nearly 2-minute improvement from his last going. Meanwhile, in the women's 6K, Sarah Carter led the way for the Rams, registering a time just above 21 minutes. Lily Tomasula Martin wasn't far behind, and Annabelle Stanford rounded up CSU's portion of the top 25, placing 12th. An overall solid performance, Colorado State will have 3 weeks to rest and train before heading north again, but this time to Madison, Wisconsin for the Nutty Combi Wisconsin Invitational on October 14th. And finally, Ella, how did women's golf do yesterday on the first day of the Wallenberg-Patargum Ram Classic?
Thanks, Mike. Actually, really good. Before tee-off today, the Rams currently sat in second place, with junior Sofia Torres birdieing the final 2 holes to cap off a strong opening. CSU is 1 stroke ahead of Cal Poly and trailing Nevada, tagged at 9 under 567. Head coach Laura Seelig had no complaints about her group's performance, and the Rams hope to come out swinging even better for the last tees of today. Patience and confidence have been the backbone of this 2022-2023 Colorado State women's golf team, and I'm anxious to see what they can accomplish going forward. And with that, Rams, we'll take another break. Coming up after the break, we will pick the games for the week ahead in Mountain West football, NoCo High School football, the MLB, so stay right here with CTV Channel 11 because you definitely won't want to miss it.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. I'm Brandon Cruz, back with my wonderful sports staff for another edition of Hot or Not Pick'em. Like last time, we have 5 predictions to get to, 3 for each anchor. I'll be the moderator. But first, let's take a look into the current standings after round 1 2 weeks ago. And ooh, Madeline up 3-0. Ella, Mike, and Leah come in tied for second place, and Ruby, ooh, 1 and 2. Now, we are only through one round, so there's still time for you guys to improve your picks. Madeline, let's see if you can keep the undefeated streak going. But now we'll get into our picks. The first one that we have on tap is actually not a game. It's going to be the NL East race in the MLB between the Mets and Braves. Mets currently have a 1-game advantage. We're running a little low on time, guys. Let's get some rapid fire. Ella, who wins the NL East?
Well, that's a good thing, Brandon, because I don't need to say much. All I have to say is Buck Showalter has it under control, and the Mets are going to win the NL East. And I know you guys don't agree with me, but the Mets have led all season, and I don't think they're going to give it up with 8 games left. Braves. That's all I got to say.
I don't think the Braves can go from winning a title to like this just not making it and winning this conference or division here. I think they're going to take it here.
No, but I think they can because they shouldn't have won last year. So
but they did.
Hot take. Another hot take. Not meant for tonight. But
Madeline, who do you have, Braves or Mets?
Well, diehard CTV fans know that I lost $20 betting against the Braves last year.
Shut up,
so I'm never doing that again. So I like the Braves.
Mets, 1,000%. DeGrom, Scherzer, you can't beat them. Ella, I got your back.
Thanks, Leah. I appreciate it.
the winning that division will be crucial because with the new playoff rules, they do get a bye, so that's something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's get into some games. We'll start with we mentioned it earlier in the show with the Canvas Community Classic, Fort Collins versus Fossil Ridge. Ella, who wins it?
Fossil Ridge, just because you can't go against the records. They just prove what's going on. 4-1 versus 1-4. I mean, it's really, really hard for me to go against the stats here on this one, so Fossil Ridge is going to take it.
I'm going to agree with you on this one. I'm going with Fossil Ridge, but my reasoning is a little different. I'm going to go with them because they have literally the coolest mascot name I've ever heard of. The Saber Cats. Like, what even is a Saber Cat?
That's another reason.
I just love that, and so they deserve to win because of that. So.
I'm going with Fossil Ridge because I have no idea anything about the teams.
Now, I am so glad you guys picked Fossil Ridge because
here we go again.
As an alum of Fossil Ridge High School, star freshman baseball player on the freshman team, pitcher, second baseman.
Utility, everything.
Go
Brandon
Sabercats.
on every field.
Go Sabercats. All right, Pooter versus Rocky Mountain. Madeline, who wins it?
I love a good underdog, so I'm going Rocky Mountain.
I am going Pooter because back in my glorious softball days in high school, we fell to Rocky Mountain in state, and that was tragic. So I have to naturally root against them. So go Pooter High School.
You guys had great in-depth analysis of those two games. I very much appreciate it. Okay, so now let's get into the Mountain West football games. San Diego State at Boise State. Ella, who wins this one?
Now, if you were to ask me a week ago, I would have said Boise without hesitation, but they just lost their quarterback and fired their OC.
Yeah.
So although that still makes SDSU an underdog, according to most, I had to take the Trojans? Spartans? Whatever. SDSU.
I also went with SDSU for this one, and I did see that Boise State lost their quarterback, so that's a bummer for them. And they also had a pretty hard preseason schedule this year, playing Arizona and Utah, and Utah's ranked 12th, I think, in the AP poll right now. And they lost 7-35, but I think that will prepare them for Mountain West play. So I think they got it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Boise here. I mean, the stats for SDSU are just terrible. They're letting them almost 400 yards a game and almost more than 200 rush yards a game, so I think Boise takes this one easily.
Aztecs.
Oh, that's what it is. Thank you. I wasn't even close.
Yeah. Both of the
0 for 2.
Yeah.
I feel like I should definitely know this, but I don't.
Well, and both teams have been pretty much disappointments. I mean, those teams are consistently top of the Mountain West, Mountain West Conference champions year-round. So now we get to our last game for the day. San Jose State at Wyoming. Madeline, who do you have?
I'm going to side with my Wyoming native father on this one, and go Pokes.
Yeah, go Pokes.
Wyoming, they've been proving to be a dark horse at this point. They've been doing really well so far. And with that, Ram fans, that's all the sports action we have for you tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow night for CTV Geeks. Thanks you so much for watching. We'll see you then.